The land use is generally seen in the form of physical factors as well as human factors. Talking about physical factor, the first factor that influences the land use is the topography. When I say topography, topography refers to the nature and slope of the land. It also refers to landforms. And in India, we have mountains, plateaus, as well as plains. And the utility of the land also varies. When it is mountains, mostly it is covered by forest. When it is plateaus, plateaus are the places that are rich in minerals. But of course, the land is also used for agriculture and settlements. Then we have plains. And when I say plains, North Indian plain is mainly used for agriculture and agro-based industries. In the coastal plains of India, we have cities, and some parts, the delta areas, we have fertile lands. Then another factor that influences the land use is the climate. There are different parts of the country getting very heavy rainfall and very low rainfall, and variation in temperatures. Even that influences the utility of the land. Then it is soil types. India is a land of diversity, and different part of India has different types of soil. And accordingly, the crops also vary because crops depend mainly on two factors. One is climate and the other one is soil types. Of course, it also depends on the topography, but mainly it is climate as well as soil types. The next factor is the human factors that influences the land use. The human factor includes, one is population density. Different part of the country has different densities of population. If you see the mountainous areas, the density is less. Cities, the density is high. And the plateau areas, the density is moderate. Then it is technological capabilities. When we come to cities, the technological capabilities are much better than the rural areas. Of course, there are different states in India using technology even when it comes to agriculture. Agriculture is done with the help of modern machines and hybrid seeds. Then another factor is the culture as well as traditions. The culture and traditions also vary from one part of the country to the other. Let us understand now land degradation. 95% of our basic needs for food, shelter, and clothing is obtained from land. Human activities have not only brought about degradation of land but have also aggravated the pace of natural force to cause damage to land. Now let us understand them in detail. India has 328.7 million hectares of land, and out of that 130 million hectares is put in the category of degraded land. So you can imagine how much land in our country is coming in the section of degraded land. 28% is degraded because of forest. Then 56% water eroded. This happens due to waterlogging or heavy rainfall. The third one is 16% saline and alkaline deposits. This also happens because of waterlogging. How is the formation of saline and alkaline lands happen? Now, generally when we take an agricultural field and water is supplied to that field, say through canals, first of all, the water percolates into the subsoil. Once the water goes into the subsoil, it mixes up with the salt and forms solution. Now, once the subsoil is saturated, means it cannot take any more amount of water, there will be water logging. Now later on, due to the heat of the sun, the water on the surface, that is on the fields, starts evaporating. Now when this water evaporates, it pulls the water of the subsoil. So the water, that is the salt solution in the subsoil, starts rising up through an action called as capillary action. And finally, all the water from the surface of the field and the subsoil evaporates, and the salt comes up and accumulates on the surface. That is, a layer of salt is formed. So this results into formation of saline lands, which makes the land useless for agriculture. Similarly, in the North Indian plains, because of extreme heat within the soil, the bacteria eat away the humus, the organic content, and the lime content in the soil increases. This changes the land into alkaline lands. This is how the saline and alkaline lands are formed, and it is very common in the North Indian plains, in the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. So, some human activities such as deforestation, overgrazing, mining, and quarrying. Quarrying is like mining. In mining, we extract minerals. In quarrying, we bring out precious stones. Say, Rajasthan is rich in marbles. So, it is not minerals, it is quarry. Quarrying means removing those marbles. Similarly, Karnataka is for granite. So there again, it will be quarrying. So all these have contributed to land degradation. Now what happens? Supposing a big area is there which is rich in minerals, so it becomes a mining site. And after all the mining is over, that land is abandoned. That is, they leave the land. And that leaves a deep scar. And that land is completely useless. The nearby areas also get polluted and it affects the fertility of the agricultural land. Talking about mining. Now, which are the states that are affected due to mining? The states are Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. Now, all these states are affected. The reason is, in all these states, there were deforestation. The reason is mining, and this is the reason for land degradation. Now we come to the second reason, and that is overgrazing. When I talk about overgrazing, how does it affect? Whenever animals excessively eat the grass and the land is left bare, then the soil becomes loose and it is subjected to erosion. That can lead to land degradation. And the states that are affected by it are Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. These are the main states where there is land degradation due to overgrazing. Then it is waterlogging. Waterlogging we have already discussed. Whenever there is excess water in the agricultural land, the water goes into the subsoil and mixes up with the salt. Later on, due to evaporation, the same groundwater comes up with the salt and finally leaves the salt on the upper layer of the soil and water evaporates, changing the land into saline or alkaline lands, which is unfit for agriculture. Which are the states which are affected by it? They are, one is Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. Now we know these are agriculturally rich states, but the problem that they face is waterlogging, and due to waterlogging, what happens is land degradation. Then it is mineral processing. Now we know mining happens. After that, the same mineral is processed. Supposing I take iron ore. From iron ore we make steel, and for making steel also we require iron ore, manganese ore, coal, as well as limestone. Now when they are processed, hardly 25-30% is the iron or steel that we get finally. But more than half of it is waste that is to be dumped somewhere. Some more examples are, one is grinding of limestone for cement industry. Then it is calcite and even soapstone for ceramic industries. They generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. Not only that, it settles on the agricultural land. And when it settles, it stops, reduces the process of infiltration of water into the soil, and so creates difficulties in agriculture. And then in recent years, even industrial liquid waste, that is effluents, have become a major source of land as well as water pollution in many parts of the country. Now the question that is asked is, write any 4 human activities which are mainly responsible for land degradation in India. The first reason is mining, and you know the reasons, what all happens. Second one is overgrazing. Third is over irrigation. And fourth one is mineral processing. Now these are the four main reasons and you should know to elaborate it. Now there are many ways to solve the problems of land degradation. And they are, first one is afforestation and proper management of grazing land. Second is planting of shelter belts. Now what do we understand by this? Whenever we take an agricultural land, the upper layer of the soil is the best part of the soil. It should be prevented from erosion. One of the method is along the border of the agricultural land plant trees, which is referred to as shelter belts, and that reduces the velocity of the wind and thereby prevents land degradation. Then it is controlling overgrazing, stabilization of sand dunes by growing thorny bushes, proper management of wastelands, controlling of mining activities, and proper discharge and disposal of industrial effluents, wastes after treatment. Now, all these can reduce land and water degradation in industrial as well as suburban areas. Thank you.